Hi gamers, it's Bobby, welcome back to the squad. So today we're diving into the brand new free login reward champion, Leminisi the Goldwing. If you snagged the Sylvan Watcher for free, you're probably wondering, is she worth building? So today we're gonna be breaking down her kit, potential, and where she fits into your team. So let's get it. Alright guys, let me start from there. So who is Leminisi? Leminisi the Goldwing is basically the brand new free login reward champion that everybody is able to get just by logging in the game for 7 days straight. So basically here on the left, you would see Leminisi Chase tab. On the 7th day, we are being able to collect her, and on day 14, we're gonna be able to collect 2 Awakening Stars for her, making her even more powerful. Don't miss your chance to start Raid Shadow Legends with 3 legendary champions and a stacked team of epics, all for free. Click the special link in the description to get your hands on Basilius Rowanus, a second promo legendary, and Leminisi the Goldwing just for starting fresh. Here is how to do it. Log out of Platinum Play on PC and uninstall. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch raid and finish the tutorial. Claim your first legendary Basilius Rowanus from your inbox. As a next step, use one of the promo codes you see on the screen to get your hands on your second legendary champion. Log in daily for 7 days to get your third legendary champion, Leminisi the Goldwing. And last but not least, as you progress, you will also unlock 3 powerful epic champions, Tagor, Ugo, and Mausoleum Mage, all for free. Click the link now and let's crush it in Lyria together. Now, let's take a closer look at her. So basically she comes from the Sylvan Watchers faction. Her affinity is Force, which is actually a big deal, especially for newer accounts where they're often short on solid Force nukers. Now the real question here is she a game changer? Because every time we see a new legendary, we definitely assume straight that this is going to be our game changer for the account, especially if we're early game, like 1-2 months in, we see a legendary and we're like, yeah, that's my champion, that's my main carry. That's not always the case, okay? I feel you, been there, done that, but that's not always the case. She definitely has a lot of potential, don't get me wrong, and she definitely is bringing some very useful tools. Starting off with her aura. Solid, nothing crazy here. A flat 25% attack boost in all battles means she brings value basically everywhere, especially for players who are still building out team-wide aura options. Now moving on to her A1. So basically this is a double hit on a single target. If the enemy is under a shield buff, each hit has 25% chance to reduce that shield by 10%. Pretty specific, right? And now here is the kicker, guys. So basically if the target is from the Corrupted Alliance, and the champions that are from the Corrupted Alliance are champions from Demon Spawn faction, Undead Hordes, Knights Revenant, and Dark Elves faction. So if the target is from one of these factions, the skill ignores 50% of their resistance. That's massive and huge, especially for getting through those tanky PvE enemies like Siphi or Duchess. And this is going to be very helpful in the arena as well if you are against champions from these specific factions. But what if the enemy doesn't have a shield? And here is the cooler part, man. This is basically one of those skills that is always doing something, okay? Because if the enemy doesn't have a shield, then the hits ignore 10% of their defense instead. I absolutely love those type of skills where it doesn't matter, they're always doing something. That's what I like personally. This skill can honestly feel underwhelming on its own, but it does play a big role when shaving off buffs and breaking down the enemy sustain, especially in long fights or shield heavy teams. Now moving on to that A2, and this is where she actually shines. A double hit single target nuke that removes 2 random buffs per hit, so potentially 4. That's solid and strong. The cool part is that this skill scales in damage based on the target's turn meter and stacks up to 100%. That means it hits harder the closer the enemy is to taking a turn. And it definitely has some great synergy in the arena if you're running Leminisi after your speed booster. And again, let's not forget that we have some resistance, ignore mechanic for the corrupted enemies here. So basically, 50% resistance ignored. That makes her a very reliable champion in Doom Tower, Waves, or Hydra, where we could see a lot of these corrupted Alliance champions. Now moving on to that A3 here, and this one is her AoE utility skill, and it hits twice across all enemies. So the first hit has 75% chance to apply 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. The second hit has 50% chance to place a block buffs debuff for 2 turns. And honestly, this combination is just perfect, amazing for bosses in Doom Tower like Nether Spider, for example, or even areas like Ice Golem, Waves, where healing and buff stacking becomes a tough problem. The downside here is that both effects are RNG based and they need accuracy to land. But again, the passive resistance ignore versus corrupted enemies definitely gives her a nice edge in certain encounters. Honestly, not hard hitting AoE attack, but definitely extremely useful. It's one of those skills that definitely becomes better when used with specific strategies. If you're running heal reduction dependent team compositions, or you just need help stopping enemy buffs, this one will definitely get the job done. And now finally moving on to her passive, Scorch of Evil. Okay, this passive is interesting. First, she takes 15% less damage from enemies under heal reduction, which can help her stay alive a little longer. More importantly, here, the most important part is that she fills her turn meter by 5% whenever an enemy gets a shield or a heal. That second part is actually pretty spicy, if you ask me. Against team or bosses that throw frequent shields or AoE healing like Hydra, Bommel, she can cycle through her turns faster. You can't fully build around that, but it's definitely a cool little nice bonus. And honestly, this passive does not sound much at first, but it definitely starts to shine in longer fights where she keep gaining turn meter passively and sneaking in some extra damage and control. Now let's take a closer look at the stats we're gonna need when building Leminisi. As you can see, I still haven't built her, I still haven't done anything, but now it's the perfect moment to discuss what are the most important stats for Leminisi. As we all know, Leminisi is an attack champion, force affinity, so the stats that we're gonna be looking for when building her, priority number 1 would definitely be crit rate. Put those crit rate gauntlets on her. We definitely need some crit damage. Speed, of course, would be very nice, and it's definitely a must. Somewhere around 250-300 speed for Leminisi would work just great. It really depends on where you are at the game. You can do her between around 180 and 200 if you're still in the beginning. I consider myself in the beginning as well. I'm playing for 6 months now and I'm still in the beginning. I know nothing, okay? So for starters, if you can do it as closer to 200 speed, it would be great. Another very important stat for attack champions, this is attack percentage stat. This is very important. And the last stat that we're gonna be looking for when building our Leminisi, this is definitely going to be accuracy. Why? Because we definitely need to land those crucial debuffs coming from her A3. About the accuracy stats, I think somewhere between 180 and 200 accuracy would work just fine. And now I want to quickly talk about which are the areas I think she would shine out the most. Oh, before we jump into that, I forgot to mention her masteries here. So it really depends on what role you would like her to play on your account. For example, are you building her for general PvE, nuker and debuffer? I would personally go here with offense and support 3 for Leminisi, building her to be a nuker and a debuffer. Definitely gonna go with that Hellmaster here, just to increase the chances of ignoring the target's defense. From the support 3, I would definitely go for charged focus to get some additional accuracy, because when building her, I'm not gonna be focused so much on the accuracy, to be honest. So just to get those additional accuracy coming from her masteries would be great. And definitely here I would go with something like Master Hexer, because it has 30% chance to extend the duration of any debuff, which is amazing. It's gonna help a lot. And now where I see her shines, definitely she has early to mid game viability, and I see her shines most in areas like campaign, Doom Tower, faction wars, and early arena. It really depends on where are you in the arena. And my personal opinion on Leminisi, I would say that I definitely like her niche utility, especially that heal reduction and buff removal. But honestly, don't expect an Alice level impact here, because I'm mentioning here Alice because she was one of the previous login reward champions, and I personally don't think that Leminisi is on the same level as Alice. Definitely 100% not through. Alice is much better. Same goes for Artag. Like, if I have to compare them, to make a comparison between Alice, Artag, and Leminisi the Gold Wing, she would definitely take up the third place here. Her value really shows up in the early to mid game, helping newer players push through campaign stages or even in certain Doom Tower encounters like the Nether Spider, especially if you're running HP burn strategies with champions like Geomancer or Mordecai. That said, for endgame players or PvP teams, I would say that she's definitely not going to replace your top tier nukers anytime soon. And compared to past login champs like Alice and Artag, she definitely feels a little underwhelming. But hey, she's free, and for a lot of accounts out there, she can still be a decent pickup. Now, the real question here is, when should you build her? If you're a new player or early to mid-game player, especially one lacking a force nuker, she's a solid choice. Want her build for faction wars, Doom Tower, campaign, hard mode, go for it. But if you're in endgame player with meta nukers, she's probably going to be a Vault champion, or if not a Vault champion, a champion that you're going to use in very specific scenarios. The final verdict here is that she definitely has a lot of potential. She is not awful, 100%, just kind of underwhelming. If you're a new player, definitely go for it. Build her, she will help you progress. But if you've been here for a while, you're a seasoned player, you probably have much more better nukers on your roster. She's not a terrible addition, just not the one that's gonna change your account magically. So what do you guys think? Let me know your opinion in the comment section down below. Am I being too harsh or just being real? Let me know down in the comments. And if you're building Leminisi, tell me where you're using her. I'm pretty curious if someone found a hidden gem strategy that I'm missing. Thank you so much for being here. As always, I wish you have a wonderful day. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It would really help my channel grow. And subscribe for the channel if you still haven't. I promise more interesting things are coming up. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye!